Hello, I am the podcast announcing utility liaison. You may call me Paul. This week's film, and the episode in which it is discussed, features graphic depictions of violence toward minors that may be unsuitable for some members of our audience. Listener discretion is advised. And now, on with the show.
Yeah, come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake. Happy Christmas.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now just 140 shopping days left until Christmas, and I do believe you know what that means. That means it's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday nonsense all year round. Hi, my name is Joseph Wade. I am joined this week by my two esteemed co-hosts, Johnny Five, the human robot.
What the fuck is up, you cunts? It loses something without the accent. It really does.
It really does, yeah.
It sounds rude now.
Yeah, just normal-ass Americans can't do that. And Mr. Bradford is here as well. Brad?
I was going to come up with a joke, but I couldn't in time. So that will have to suffice as a joke. Hi, everybody.
We all need improv classes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Christmas.
Yes, and no, but...
Welcome to August, everybody. This is prime vacation time. We're hitting the road like Sam and Max this week. Going to it's not Eastern European. It's just regular old European. Going to a little European country called Belgium for a little film called In Bruges from 2008. Martin McDonagh's first directorial feature, and this is a delightful romp across medieval Europe.
Real delightful. Yeah.
Yeah. He says as he stares into his alcohol longingly, desperately.
So they drink a lot of alcohol in this
Across
movie.
about a 4-block area of Bruges.
There were about 100 goblets of beer drinking and consumed during this movie.
And I feel like we needed half of that to make it through the film, because let me tell y'all, folks, it's going to get real tonight, because this is a depressing little movie.
If you're looking for an uplifting Christmas movie, you have not come to the right place.
Nor have you come to the right podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We are dedicated to talking about all the holiday cinema that is not joyous and joyful and full of mirth and spirit. We are talking about the realness, the darkness, the sticky underbelly of the holiday experience tonight, because yeah.
This movie is neither joyful nor triumphant.
And if you're interested in discount prices on linoleum flooring, hit me up after the podcast, everyone.
It is neither joyful nor noise. Let's discuss. But we're going to soldier on anyway and try and keep things light, because otherwise we're going to, do something terrible to ourselves. In Bruges, everybody.
Fun fact, do you know that most little people off themselves... No. The suicide rate for dwarves is higher. Fun fact from the movie. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah. Fun fact from a movie about making fun of little people. Yeah.
Yeah, good God. What was this? 2008. That was 10 years ago.
We brought up one of our other older episodes on a recent podcast, the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang episode, and I kept thinking about that while we were watching this film, because in a lot of ways this film reminded me of that one.
Oh yeah, it gets pretty bad. They break out derogatory terms for little people pretty often, and there's they break out
3-letter F-bombs and
a lot. Yeah. Also, they refer to mentally handicapped people in it, and it's a romp, y'all.
This is one of those films, I think, that if this film were a person, it would pride itself as an equal opportunity offender, which is not a compliment.
It's the Ricky Gervais of films, basically.
It kind of is, yeah. Because
which is appropriate because it's very British. Well, it's Irish, but also British. Yeah.
So As far as the plot goes, I mean, we can probably get through this pretty quick because there's really not a whole lot of.
It's a lot of philosophy and people, two hired killers sitting around talking about forgiveness and death and purgatory and yeah.
And where any of them wind up at the end of the film. Do we want to talk spoilers, or is this one that we're going to just say, like, save?
Yeah, we basically, half the podcast is us just doing a plot synopsis of every movie we watch.
Like, how are we not talking spoilers? Like, have you listened to this podcast before?
All right, so basically, if you have any interest in seeing In Bruges, it's on Netflix. Go watch it, and then we'll reconvene shortly.
Wait, no, here you go. Here's the plot of In Bruges right here. Here's the plot of In Bruges. Hold on. I got the plot of In Bruges for you. Come on, here you go.
Are you just looking it up on IMDb?
I shot a kid.
Yeah, that's kind of it. You're right.
Yeah, pretty much. You did it. You got it in 4 words. Like, you
know what? I'm gonna go back to the 5-minute.
I love how the related videos on here include.
Oh dear.
Hey, Ernest Hemingway, somebody beat you by 2 words. This is the saddest short story ever.
All right, I'm gonna try and we're gonna do the 5-minute plot synopsis challenge. So
yeah,
I'm gonna do this.
Okay, I'm
gonna do this.
Let me set my alarm.
Yes,
and we're gonna do this.
All right.
Yeah, because there's not really much to pick apart in terms of like bad plot in this movie because the plot just serves as a bridge between conversations.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, and go.
All right, so we have Ken and Ray, who are 2 trained killers, hired killers, who have to lay low in Bruges after botching a job. So I'm not going to go in the order is presented in this film. Ray, who comes across as a bit of a pessimist at the beginning of the film, who hates Bruges, on his first job to murder a priest, ends up also killing a kid during friendly fire. And for that reason, they have to lay low in a small city called Bruges in Belgium. It's a lovely city. It's very medieval. Ken, however, comes across as the optimist and tourist who loves history and ends up going around Bruges looking at all the old medieval stuff. They have a lot of conversations about philosophy and life. Ray ends up meeting a woman named Chloe, who is a drug dealer who also does robberies on the side. He ends up meeting up with her, kind of hooking up with her, not necessarily falling in love, but they get attached to one another. He also blinds Chloe's white supremacist ex-boyfriend who is in on the robbery jobs. Ken is told by Harry, who is the sort of lead of these 2 men, that he needs to kill Ray because Ray killed a kid, and Harry considers himself to be a man of principle. Ken can't go through with the job. Ray is already thinking about killing himself because he killed the kid. Ken ends up preventing Ray from committing suicide using a gun that he found at Chloe's apartment, and sends him off on a train. However, Ray is returned to Bruges after being identified by a policeman after he punched out a Canadian guy for kind of telling him off in a restaurant that he was on a date with Chloe. Harry ends up coming to Bruges to off both Ken and Ray after he hears that Ken let Ray go. There's also Jimmy, who is a little person who is not really that germane to the plot. They do coke with him and they talk about race wars, and Jimmy's a racist little person who likes prostitutes. That's about all you need to know there until the end of the film. Harry ends up shooting Ken on the bell tower. Ken ends up throwing himself off of the bell tower in an attempt to save Ray. Ray grabs the gun, goes back to the hotel, where the proprietress of the hotel, who is pregnant, named Mary, Mary with a baby, Christmas, ends up basically sitting in the hotel and preventing them from having a shootout in the hotel. Ray throws himself. Was that the timer?
No.
Okay, Ray throws himself out into the canal onto a boat where he's shot by Ken. Or not by Ken. He's shot by Harry. Ray leads Harry on a chase to a movie set where Jimmy is filming his movie. Harry ends up shooting Ray some more, where he also ends up shooting Jimmy, who he thinks is a child. Harry ends up committing suicide because he said that if he ever killed a kid like Ray did, he would end up committing suicide. So the body count right now is Ken and Ray are dead, Jimmy, the little person, is dead, and Harry is in a state of unknown deadness. And that can...
You mixed up two names, but yeah.
Ray's, we don't know what names did I mix up?
You said Ken and Ray
Sorry,
are dead.
Ken, Harry, and Jimmy are dead. Ray... It ends the movie. We don't know whether or not Ray is dead as he's being carted off into an ambulance. He says he hopes he lives. It ends the movie, and there you have it, folks. What a movie. Did I get most of it? How fast did I get it?
You got it with 1 minute and 15 to spare.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't really miss anything in
like
German.
little details along the way that kind of pepper the story with flavor and whatnot. But
this movie is little details.
Those are the broad strokes.
I'll just say in the original script as a note that Ray does survive because it's viewed that him trying to stop Harry from killing himself out of the case of mistaken identity was viewed as basically his redemption. Because he could have easily just let Harry off himself and just be like, oh, my problem solved itself. Yeah. The screenplay actually spells it out in a later scene.
Where he wakes up in the hospital and Chloe's there or something.
Something.
I don't know whether I would prefer that or the. I don't know. I don't.
Well, it's one of those movies where you're given a really shitty person as your main character, and so you end up rooting for them because they're the main character, not because they've actually done anything, good.
Do you guys prefer do you guys like ambiguous movie endings like this, or do you feel like they're cop-outs? Inception is a very good example. Other ones, there are many notable examples, but...
Well, yeah.
I thought Inception was pretty clear on the ending, though.
That was the big thing.
No, I thought it was very clear. If you thought it was ambiguous, you weren't paying attention.
Well, I guess I wasn't paying attention.
It's been a while since I've seen Inception, but the top spins and then wobbles at the end, right?
Falters a little bit and then keeps spinning, but we don't know.
Wait,
what you take away from that is that it's not a dream because the top is working.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care.
Well, okay, so.
There's also some other shit where, in any of the dream sequences, he's still wearing a wedding ring, and in the real world, he's not. And in the last scene, he's
that's
not.
A bit better. So this...
But I haven't seen it since it came out.
Release either. So Ray is basically if Joey Tribbiani from Friends was an Irish hitman. That's all I took from this, essentially.
But, to answer your question, though, I would say that I do think ambiguous endings are cop-outs. Because to me, that says that you couldn't think of an interesting way to end it. So you're just the people that are running the movie don't have enough conviction to commit to an ending, and it's basically if you're trying to choose a restaurant and you say to the other person, "Nah, you decide,"
or it's
Taxi Driver's last scene was great. If Taxi Driver did not have the last scene, it would. It's
a film going well, audience, what do you think? Which that's not really the question the film poses up to that point, so it's kind of bullshit. In Bruges is not asking me whether or not I care if Ray lives or dies.
I kind of don't, honestly.
In Bruges has a problem that a lot of movies like this do, where they try to balance action and comedy. Where they end up just front-loading all of the comedy, and then just suddenly there's just a bunch of...
Let me tell you, though, how much of a slog this would have been if there was no comedy whatsoever. This would have been the fucking most depressing, terrible movie ever.
It's an action comedy, or a comedy or dramedy, or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, it falls in that trap so many do, where they just front-load the comedy, and here's a shitload of violence. Have you ever seen Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon? It starts out as a movie that's basically someone making a documentary about a Jason Voorhees-esque serial killer, and then about halfway through, it just kind of morphs into the movie it's parodying. It just morphs into a slasher movie.
Okay.
And it kind of ruins something where it's like it kind of starts out all tongue in cheek and goofy, and then it's just like, oh, here's some cool
kills. Is that the technical term in the horror movie community? Cool kills. Love it.
I think the technical term is sweet kills, but yeah, it's pretty close. So I'm looking at the poster for this movie right now, and you can tell that they're trying to sell this as a comedy first. Because on the poster, you've got your Colin Farrell. In one hand, he's got a gun. In the other hand, he's got a cone of ice cream.
When did they ever eat ice cream in this film?
They didn't. Nobody did.
Want anything from the shop?
It's not even like they're in fucking Venice or something where it's like,
right.
They're eating gelato. That makes sense. Like, Bruges, as far as I know, Bruges is not known for its fucking ice cream.
Shouldn't he be holding like a Stroop waffle, if anything?
He should be holding like a gram of Coke or something, or at least a pint of whatever.
Yeah, that's true. They do drink a lot of beer in this movie.
They do drink a lot. And for whatever reason, there is a swan on the poster as well, which makes me think they're trying to horn in on the Hot Fuzz action.
That's Bruges Bruges historically is like big on swans.
But between the ice cream and the swan, when was Hot Fuzz in Bruges?
Yes, like by like 1 year.
Definitely gonna try to horn in on that. Is it like a cornetto or is it like a real ice cream?
No, it's like a waffle cone of like pink ice cream with like a chocolate stick hanging off the top. Like it's very like
that's so
very
weird
carnival ice cream kind of.
I would love to be in that meeting with like the graphic designer. Where they're like, yeah, this isn't funny enough. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat here so y'all can see it.
At least like a tourist map would have been more thematically appropriate, where they're like supposed to be. Their cover is they're supposed to be like touring Bruges or whatever,
right.
But
well, they get a little bit of that in there because like behind Colin Farrell is Brendan Gleeson, and behind Brendan Gleeson is a rack of postcards.
Okay, but still,
they're trying so hard to build this as a comedy, and to be fair, there are jokes in this film, but I do not refer to this as a comedy.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Korean poster of it now, and yeah, the main picture of it is Colin Farrell holding a gun and a beer.
Oh,
that's much better.
Wow.
Good job, Korea. Yes, this movie has its funny moments, but overall, I did not come away... It did not have a comedy feeling at the end, let me tell you.
No, it did not. But at the same time, this is one of those films that I feel like popped up in the wake of, like, Quentin Tarantino, where
this movie is Tarantino as fuck.
Everyone realized, like, I can write a crime movie with lots of silly dialogue and references to popular culture things. Sure, why not? But then this guy decided to, instead of popular culture, I'm going to talk about Hieronymus Bosch because that's what the kids want to know about. And if I'm being fair, I could have done with like 20% more Bosch talk in this film.
Here's something that's probably kind of telling about this movie. I just searched Google for In Bruges poster, and there are more than a few pictures that it brought up on image search. First off, the Pulp Fiction poster's on here. But
of course.
More than a few pictures, which are apparently screenshots of YouTube pages. That's the In Bruges poster with a fat white beardo sitting next to it.
What?
Because it's
some guy's YouTube
the thumbnail of the fat white beardo's review.
Oh, is he wearing a fedora?
Let's see. No fedora. What else we got? Nope.
Hey guys, welcome to my review for In Bruges. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Mash that like button.
Every $3 donation on Patreon gets a free fedora from my personal collection.
Hey YouTube, what's up?
We're gonna get angry comments from YouTubers.
My God, though, fuck them. How bad is it that hard to come up with like an original greeting other than "Hey guys"?
Well, greetings, holiday shoppers is trademarked, and nobody else can use it but us.
Correct, and we are technically on YouTube now, I guess.
Yup.
So we're technically YouTube guys. Hey, if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
You can't see it, but I'm pointing down, which is where you should put a comment on this episode.
Can you edit the video that's sitting on YouTube just to have a little arrow pointing down to the... Like, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, maybe. So, first of all, we're 20 minutes into talking about this movie, and you may be wondering why we're talking about it. This does actually take place at Christmas.
It does.
Does it need to?
No.
It only does to kind of, what's the way to put it? Kind of as a crutch for the religious themes that they're kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit half-assedly going after the movie.
I agree.
Yeah. Wasn't there one plot element that was like, oh, they had to share a room because all of the hotels are booked up because it's Christmas.
Right.
Yeah, but they could have easily just been like, all the hotels are booked. It's PAX.
Yeah, it's tourist high season.
Yeah,
whatever.
Or it could be Oktoberfest. It could have been,
I think the only other
Belgium, not.
Yeah, it's Belgium. They don't have an October.
It's fucking Carnival. There we go.
Wait,
the only other mention is that the park that Ken is supposed to kill Ray in is not crowded because it's Christmas.
Right, and I think at the end, the final scene where Ray and Harry have their kind of standoff, there's Christmas decorations, there's Christmas trees and whatnot.
By the way, when Yuri, the arms dealer, is talking to Ken about the park, was anybody else imagining like this vast like historical ruin, and then the scene comes up and there's like a playground with children?
Well, yeah, because they're talking about like alcoves and nooks and crannies, and it's like, wow, this is going to be like a fancy medieval like
manor that's overgrown or something like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah, he's gonna kill
in the middle of the town.
He's gonna kill Ray in fucking Versailles or something. But no,
yeah, exactly.
No, it's just like the playground at the the 12th Street Park. It's nothing.
Yeah. So the other wink wink nudge nudge thing is that the proprietress of the inn, as I mentioned, the plot synopsis, is named Mary, who is pregnant with a baby,
which I did not pick up on. So I'm glad someone did.
Well, that and all of the fucking shit about Bosch that the movie has going on.
Well, yeah, like the Bosch paintings and the history lesson that Brendan Gleeson gives is very. Yeah,
and at the end, at the final movie scene where Jimmy was a schoolboy, basically all of the other actors were dressed like people from a fucking Bosch triptych.
Like, I think if you can give this film any credit at all, like it does kind of take its art direction like pretty seriously, and I think it nails it definitely nails sort of the artistic side of what it's trying to do, narratively and comedically. We can talk about that. Talk about that later.
There are some very pretty shots of some very pretty architecture in this movie.
Yes, and
I think I fall more on the Ken side. I would be excited to be in Bruges and looking at all the old buildings and such.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I feel like that may be the best, I guess, aspect of the film to talk about as far as we're concerned, because lots of people travel around the holidays, and some people go on vacation to different. Brad, you've been overseas. You've been to Europe. Tell us about Bruges.
I have not been to Bruges. I have not even been to Belgium, my friend. John's been to Europe.
John, you've been to Bruges. Tell us about it.
I've been to Belgium. Not to
Bruges is a place. It's a place that exists.
As the poster for this...
I've been to Maastricht, which is probably the closest comparison I can make out of my own personal experience. Yeah, it's super touristy, except it's also still like lived in, which is really weird. Like, because a lot of times you think of like a super touristy place, you're like, oh, it's Disney World, no one actually fucking lives here, But no, it's like you have this like this ancient fucking house from the 1200s, and then just this old guy comes out of it with fucking shopping bags, It would be really weird to me to live in a place like with that much historical shit.
Like Amsterdam or Munster or a city like that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
but also like we've all, I'm sure, had experiences where we've traveled either abroad or elsewhere with other people who are not maybe as enamored with things as enamored of the sights as we are. Perhaps.
Yeah, normally that's when I'm like, all right, see you fuckers at the hotel at 6, but I suppose in their situation that doesn't quite work.
Yeah, because I mean, in this film, you've got Ken, who is all about doing some sightseeing and his learning about history and going to the church and like touching the religious artifacts and whatnot. And then Ray, who would rather be literally any other place. Like, he just wants to go drinking and not be there. And I recently got back from a trip to Las Vegas where that was like basically all we did for a week was I want to go here. No, I don't. I want to go and drink somewhere else. Yep, exactly.
Yes.
I had to strong arm 3 old people,
grown-ass adults.
3 grown-ass adults into going to a museum about nuclear weapons with me because...
Are you kidding me? I would have killed. I was actually in Tucson last week, and I would have died to go to the Titan Missile Museum, but I didn't get to because work.
Right.
No, I work 6 days a week. Fuck all
I know. I'm sorry.
You should be.
Brad's satisfaction is all I needed to hear.
It's a good cider, mixed with lager, my man. I haven't done that in a while.
All right.
I'm gonna throw a fucking.
Speaking of bowling, there's apparently no bowling in Bruges.
Yep.
Or at least not that we know of. Hey, if you live in Bruges and you know where a bowling alley is, hit us up.
Yeah, we want to know if this is factually accurate. In fact, you know what? I'm going to actually search that right now.
Yeah, why are we asking our listeners? Why aren't we not just asking Google?
And I searched lowercase m, uppercase P-A in Google. Good job. So, those are maps. This is thrilling listening, I know. So, let's see.
Okay, the reason we're talking about this is because there's a scene where Harry calls calls Ken at the hotel, and he's basically giving him the order to kill Ray. And he's asking if Ray is there. He's like, no, Ray's gone out. He's like, well, where's Ray gone out to? And he's like, I don't know. He thinks he makes up a lie about Ray trying to find a bowling alley in Bruges.
I mean, Ray really is out,
yes.
But Ray's out on a date.
So Ken is making this
probably Harry would be mad about Ray bringing
exactly
other people into this mess.
There are 3 bowling alleys in Bruges proper, including a chain, and 2 on the outskirts of Bruges. So there you have it.
So if he had wanted to, I'm sure he would have found one.
Granted, especially there's 2 out like just outside of Old Town Bruges. So, granted, this may not have been the case back in 2008.
It probably wasn't the case when Harry was 7 and went there the last time.
That's true. So,
because that's why he sent them to Bruges in particular, is because Harry has very fond memories of it from when he was vacationing when he was 7, and he wanted Ray to have a nice memory before he gets
there is so the
but the ultimate joke there is that when they get to Bruges, Ray wants absolutely nothing to do with it.
So
he's one of those terrible people who does not particularly care for traveling and doesn't like sightseeing.
The bowling itself is great, but the organization and operation may still much be better. Orders for food were incorrectly recorded, and instead of understanding for misunderstanding, you still get your feet too. A smile we have not seen, but I'm just talking about the unfriendly young blonde lately. So the rest was not too bad. That is from Fun of Fromage, 2-star review of Bowl in Bruges.
Okay, so we're doing this now, huh?
You're reading the internet now.
We're reading Yelp reviews of bowling alleys in Bruges. Brad, continue, please.
Let me tell you what I do for fun sometimes. Sometimes when I'm bored, I go and I find reviews for like McDonald's and Starbucks and Whole Foods, and I read all the 1-star reviews and just see how incredibly petty people can get. Because it's great, let me tell you.
All right. Well, we all have to have a hobby.
The prison in Bruges is surrounded by a moat. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty fucking cool.
So does anybody else have anything interesting they want to talk about in Bruges before I go into my own little rant?
There's a bathroom supply store to the east of the prison. It's named Desco.
Where exactly is Bruges in Belgium? Like, I don't actually know where. I could find it on a map because I can read, but like I wouldn't know where it is in the country.
It is in northeast Belgium. It is along the sea.
Okay.
It is near the coast. It's actually very close to England. It is just northeast of Dunkirk.
To
give you a reference, in Calais.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep. It is between Dunkirk and The Hague, essentially.
Okay, so
it's a friggin' fairy tale land.
It's a fairy tale, and it's terrible, and I'm sure it's lovely.
I'm sure it's great.
Too bad it's in Belgium. Then again, if it were somewhere else, there'd be too many people coming around to see it.
That's a line from the movie, by the way. If you didn't catch that,
it certainly is. It's a fairy tale town. How can that not be somebody's fucking thing? There's a great argument in this film about whether or not Bruges is somebody's thing, and it's great. There are so many little like one-liners and exchanges in this movie that I just love, that I really have a hard time coming down on this film negatively. Like I get why you guys found this like a depressing experience, but then when you get like Ralph Fiennes yelling at friggin' Quackers McCorndog about why Ray doesn't like Bruges, it's so well performed.
I won't deny that it's well written and there are funny lines. Like, I enjoyed it just as much. I love Fiennes' performance in it and everything like that. It's just the overarching sort of the arc of the movie is just a little too cynical and a little too world weary for my tastes. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I think you have to be in the right headspace for it, and I think a Sunday afternoon's probably not that.
Yeah. I think I said this to you, Joe, in chat, but I was like, everybody dies, nobody learns anything, which is accurate to the real world, but there's just so much real world out there already, you know?
Yeah, I can get that. I can get behind that. This is definitely not a film for 2018.
Yeah, no kidding.
2008 maybe. 2018 definitely not.
Yes.
I wrote here in my notes, it's like if Hot Fuzz were sad.
Pretty much. And you know this just as well as anyone. Hot Fuzz is one of my favorite films.
Yes.
Ah.
And the only thing this has, or the only thing that Hot Fuzz has over this, is sort of a sense of fun and a sense of whimsy. And this is just a little bit more
cynical.
This is like Hot Fuzz if it had 4 pints of beer in 20 minutes.
This is Hot Fuzz if it shot a kid.
I shot a kid.
Yeah. I don't want to go on continuing to compare this to Hot Fuzz because we're only going to be torturing ourselves. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say it's if you took like Three Flavors Cornetto and just put a shitload of Tarantino in it, you'd end up with In Bruges.
Yeah. Basically.
And I hate to go back to that comparison, but it really is what we compare it to, is just like so many people were inspired by Tarantino of just like, oh, I can make witty murderers, and it still hasn't stopped.
They're murderers, but they're fun. Come on, you like to party.
It's a crime caper with jokes. Get it? Everybody that came out after Tarantino to try to do the same thing, like you got your Doug Limans and you got your Troy Duffys. Is that his name? Troy Duffy, the Productions guy?
That's that fucker's name.
And your...
While you think of that, it's time for a commercial break. This is a new segment on Christmas Creeps. I'm going to introduce a new toy or a new fun little thing that this show is brought by. This week...
Troy Duffy should be locked in the attic and fed only a diet of fish heads.
This week,
Guy
Christmas
Ritchie.
Creeps
That's who I was thinking of. Guy Ritchie. Okay.
Guy Ritchie. Okay.
Go on.
This week's Christmas Creeps is brought to you by Crossfire. You'll get caught up in the crossfire. 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 Get caught up in it. I'm glad that John got the joke. It's because a little kid gets killed in the crossfire, and that's the whole reason this movie exists.
I'm sorry, I was too busy playing fake bass.
That's the joke.
Oh my god, Brian. Well, I guess I know what I'm putting up on the internet tomorrow.
What's that? The crossfire commercial?
A Craigslist ad for new podcast hosts?
Wanted 2 podcast hosts. Must not make jokes about murdered children. I cannot stress this enough.
My favorite part about 90s board game commercials is the way you tell it's a board game is because at the end, one of the kids stands up and raises both their hands and goes, I win!
It's the zany action, it's the crazy contraption. The phone is catching its mousetrap. Build a trap to catch the other mice, but don't get caught yourself. The phone is catching its mousetrap. I win!
I missed a bucket. Put your balls in my top. I missed a bucket. Out my mouth they will pop. I missed a bucket. We're all gonna run. I missed a bucket. Buckets are fun. I win!
I win!
Was there ever an In Bruges board game? Why did I ask that question?
What? Yeah, it's the most boring, depressing Euro board game ever. It's called In Bruges. You have 5...
You shot a kid, go back 3 spaces.
The board...
It's a worker placement game, and you have to place workers in order to shoot kids, and then pine about existential crises that you're having in Bruges.
You have to populate your own garden of earthly delights in order to kill kids.
Whoever has the most depression points at the end.
It's like Arkham Horror, but all the Shoggoths are just kids.
Oh, God.
Whoever has the most DP or depression points at the end of the game wins. Oh.
Every character has their own special, unique ability, and just like in GoldenEye 007, it's no fair playing as Jimmy.
Yep. And then it's like you put a guy on the most overpowered is the crack wise card. You gotta crack wise and get your depression points. You win.
If you collect 5 F-bombs, you win the game.
I win. So this was a movie. I want to bring up one thing.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a movie. So there's a scene where Ray jumps out into the canal and Harry comes after him because they can't have a shootout in the hotel. And he lands on a boat and he tells the boat driver to just keep driving no matter what. And he's on a boat in the canal and he gets shot. And the boat driver doesn't flip out at all. He just keeps driving like nothing's fucking happened.
Fucking told him to keep driving.
I guess, but
no matter what.
That's a calm ass boat driver. Are you kidding? A man was just shot and he like pulls up to the dock and then drives away like nothing happened. Which, I mean, I guess if you're host to a shootout, that's probably the best thing you can do. Is just pretend nothing happened, but still. Are you kidding? Like, the guy doesn't even look back after Ray gets shot. Well, I don't get it.
I mean,
no stars.
I mean, in that scenario, you want to get out of there as fast as possible. And in his situation, that's the best thing he can do is just keep driving.
And the best thing he can do is 5 miles an hour on a canal boat.
Okay, so there's 2 points about this film that I want to talk about before we wrap things up tonight. The first is that this is definitely a film before Christmas, before hitmans or killing kids or anything like that. This is a film about shitty tourists.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, not only does Ray piss off, the locals in Bruges, he pisses off a Canadian couple. He pisses off 3 fat Americans by trying to help them, believe it or not.
Honestly, he kind of actually would have saved them a lot of trouble. It is revealed later in the film.
He would have saved one of their lives if they had just listened to him and not tried to pick a fight with him.
Yes.
But this is a film about like shitty tourists coming into these small towns like Bruges just to kind of clog the place up. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I understand where this film's coming from as far as that is concerned. Because I live in a small to mid-sized city, and I can definitely tell when like the 4 weeks out of the year when we get national and international guests clogging up our streets.
Are you talking about Market?
Among other things, yeah.
Because I live in I was just gonna fucking dick wave at you. I live in a tourist city, and let me tell you, it's the worst. I hate it. The trains are crowded. I want them all to go home. I want them to leave my city. I see these chuds walking around with their fucking fanny packs and looking at the map on the metro. Go home.
Oh, yeah. Brad's hatred of tourists on the metro is like well documented, and I would love to hear some stories.
Get out of my fucking city. Are you kidding me?
Like,
all right.
What was no, for real? What like the most recent like big event in your city? Like, well, we don't have to say specifics, but like, I remember pretty recently you threw a huge fit about how many. It was like, I don't know.
What?
I'm trying not to say it, I'm trying not
to. You can say what city I live in. It's a big city. I don't care. I live in D.C., the capital of the United States.
Okay, so all right, but like, wasn't there like some kind of like political like big national political field trip coming to your city recently?
Oh, the fucking stupid Charlie whatever Charlie Kirk.
Toilet Paper USA?
TP USA, yeah. I almost put him on... nothing's gonna fucking happen. I almost put him on blast on Twitter, and I was like, I thought the garbage smelled stronger this week in DC, or... I came up with a one. It's absolutely Esprit d'Escalier, like the thing where you come up with a zinger like weeks later.
Yeah.
Because next week, fucking garbage that it is, the Unite the Right rally is going to be in DC, and I was like, I thought the white supremacist rally wasn't until August. Wah, wah. Anyways, no, it's just in general. Like, I'm sure they're all not these rallies, but I'm saying like tourists in general. I don't know. The trains are too crowded, and I can't get a seat in the corner like I like, where I can just fucking post up until my stop. But anyways, most egregious tourist thing was I was on the Red Line one week, and we were going past the zoo, of course.
Yeah.
And this guy had his kid on his shoulders, and he bashes the kid's head into the lintel of the door of the metro,
no.
And the kid falls. And if there wasn't a person right behind them to catch the kid would have fallen like 6 feet onto the floor of the train.
God.
Yup. Really happens.
I swear, dude. I can't.
Tourists, man.
Yeah.
Tourists.
So I guess I brought this up just to say that, like, I kind of get why. And this is not why Ray doesn't want to be a tourist, because he knows he doesn't want to be one of those people. But like, I kind of appreciate Ray's kind of dedication to just laying low.
Ray doesn't want to be a tourist because he shot a fucking kid.
Yeah,
I realize
that.
But at the same time, like, that's probably not in his wheelhouse anyway, is to be a tourist, and he doesn't like tourists in general. But yes, you're correct. Yes. So the one little detail that is like almost too gruesome to even talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because this is my show.
Yeah.
And so fuck you guys. So Harry goes to his arms dealer in Bruges, and the guy offers him the kind of bullets that make people's heads explode. And he doesn't take one or two. He takes the whole box.
What is this line? I know I shouldn't, but I will.
Yes, I know I shouldn't, but I will. So he takes the whole box, and after he shoots Ray through the chest like 4 or 5 times, it's Charles.
Charles, come here. You were so good up until now. Come here.
After he shoots Ray, it's revealed that, like, Jimmy was standing in front of Ray, and he shot Ray, he shot Jimmy in the head, and Jimmy's head explodes because he used those bullets, and because Jimmy's head explodes, he thinks it's a kid.
Hamburger. Yeah, because he's wearing a jockey suit, I believe, which looks like a schoolboy uniform.
He's wearing a schoolboy.
Oh,
costume.
okay.
He like it is straight up as a schoolboy.
Okay.
Like looks like fucking Angus Young.
He's playing Dream Sequence Angus Young in Back in Black, the Angus Young story. But he thinks that because his head's gone, he thinks that's a kid. I don't know. That's like, in a film full of gruesome details, I feel like that's the one that kind of takes it too far for me. I don't know.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
And then Ralph Fiennes proceeds to blow his own head up.
Yeah. In a film that already killed a kid, it's a bit much. And I'm only laughing because if I weren't laughing, I would be crying.
Yeah.
Speaking of a movie that killed a bunch of kids, Harry Potter.
What? Oh yeah, he's Voldemort.
Like half the fucking cast of Harry Potter's in this damn movie.
Who else?
Chloe is Fleur Delacour. Ken is Mad-Eye Moody.
Oh yeah, I thought I had seen that guy before.
Colin Farrell was someone.
Colin Farrell's in the Fantastic Beasts series, isn't he? Is he?
Maybe.
I think he is. But yeah, that's kind of a running theme in British film. Is like, you watch any British film past 2000 and actually ever. And half the cast is in Harry Potter.
Everyone is either in Harry Potter or they got cut from Harry Potter, so they're in Narnia.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a small world as far as I know, with British cinema. Like, it's kind of its own little thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I don't want to call it a tight-knit community, but it's like, yeah,
a tight-knit
It's
community.
incestuous, maybe is the word to use.
I would prefer the term cross-pollination.
I would prefer the term tight-knit.
I'm going to go with incestuous.
Okay. 3 flavors, folks. Take your pick.
Leave 3 flavors cornetto.
If you will.
Yes.
So yeah, In Bruges is definitely a hell of a thing.
Speaking of which, the fat American at the beginning was the fat zombie in Shaun of the Dead.
Why does that not surprise me?
Is it actually a British actor who can do an American accent kind of well?
I'm not sure because I looked it up because I thought it was I think it was Michael McShane, but I was like that guy Michael McShane would be too old to be that part now.
Yeah.
But I looked it up and it was the guy who's more known for being in Shaun of the Dead as a zombie.
Neat. Well,
Neat.
Yeah, he's a British actor. He was born in Wales. Okay. Mark Donovan. Cool.
There you go. His accent, like, while American sounding, wasn't like full on American. The lady that shouted back later did sound American, but he didn't sound like super American.
Yeah,
you know?
it's really weird because the Canadian guy was played by like a Serbian or something.
Really?
Yeah,
his was more convincing than the large guy.
Yeah, like I definitely thought that was like, oh, this is your token American, and then when they said no, did you hit the Canadian? Like, what? Who? Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Also, the priest that Ray kills is Ciarán Hinds, who was also in Harry Potter.
Oh,
he plays Aberforth Dumbledore.
I read like 3 Harry Potter books like over 10 years ago, and I've seen like 1.5 movies, but it's not all from the same movies. Like,
hey,
over like 5 movies, I've seen 1.5 of them basically.
I gave up on the 3rd book too. You're in good company, but I've seen all the movies and I've read parts of the book to my wife as she falls asleep.
But yeah, that series loves killing fucking kids.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Speaking of dead kids. 1001 dead kids.
So if killing kids is like a bridge too far for you, in Bruges kills far fewer children than the Harry Potter films.
There you have it.
Killing kids is cooler than I'm Miles Davis.
There you have it, folks. This is maybe we shouldn't have watched this.
Oh, I have one more question for you, Joe.
Okay.
A cinema trivia question, if you will.
Yes.
So there's a scene of a movie filming in this movie, right?
Right.
Which is common in cinema,
right,
especially regarding cinema. Has there been a scene of a movie filming in a movie?
Wait.
3 layers down. Movieception, if you will.
I want to say that there's definitely been like a Truffaut film or a Fellini film where they did that.
Okay.
Like I'm almost positive that's happened, but I couldn't off the top of my head tell you the name of it.
I don't doubt that it's happened.
I wouldn't. That's something I wouldn't put past Mel Brooks, but I can't think of like a specific
like
example.
A scene in a movie. Like okay, so like this scene in Bruges. If there was if there was another scene removed from it where they're watching Ray watch them shoot a film.
Yeah, or they're shooting a scene where they're shooting a scene in this movie.
I got you. Okay, that's tough. Anybody out there listening who knows more about film than me, please answer this question because I would love to know.
I would love to know as well.
Shoot us an email at xmascreeps@gmail.com.
Is it time to rate this Dutch baby? this Belgian baby.
Let's rate this Dutch boy and go home.
Okay.
So on our crankometer, our patented X and Y axis, where we score these films on their Christmas quotient and their holiday goodness. I made that last
quality.
Their quality, yes. On the X-axis, the Christmas quotient. How Christmassy is In Bruges?
Not very.
Well, to go with what we usually kind of fall back on for movies that aren't that Christmassy, like the question of can this take place at another time? Like And would it lose something if it took place another time? I don't think this would lose.
Not at all, except it would be a little less depressing if it wasn't during winter. But
like, yeah, like all the religious imagery and all that stuff, you don't need to have it set at Christmas for that.
That's
they don't
true,
even go in that hard on it. And you could easily set it at Easter and get the same effect.
And there's no Christmas shit
going on.
Yeah, there's like 10 seconds of Christmas
There's
music.
a very tiny bit
like almost to the point of like, why bother including it at all?
Yeah.
So I would say it doesn't use Christmas, and it could get away with not having Christmas in it. Which in comparison, like I think Die Hard would really lose a lot if Die Hard didn't take place at Christmas, because they use the trapping so much
this
more
film
effectively.
would lose some of its sort of like redemptive propulsion if we remove Christmas from it, because like the whole idea of like redeeming Ray's character at Christmas time, while it's not entirely at the forefront, like it's there if you want to see it.
I think that's giving it too much interpretation. Like the movie stops so far short of that you can't even say that. Well, these are obviously the steps.
Like even if you were doing that, it would be more appropriate as an Easter movie,
I suppose.
I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I see. I don't want to get too far into that discussion because we could go far afield and step into something we don't want to talk about. But like, I feel like putting this in like an Easter sort of mode would be going a little too far.
It's a little too on the nose, you're saying?
A little too on the nose, and with the imagery and the violence already in this film, like adding like the crucifixion to this mix would be that would be the bridge too far, I think, for this film. So I think they maybe split the difference and wanted to keep some kind of Christian undertone to it, so they chose Christmas, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fight for at least 1 point.
In Christmas quotient.
Yes. I wouldn't go much further.
Not using Christmas gives it a chance to not using Christmas, it doesn't have a chance to misuse Christmas.
I suppose you're right. I would almost put it as a true carbon neutral. I would argue for a 0, honestly. No, you don't go for that?
I don't know. Like I want to give it at least 1, but I mean, I realize I'm fighting uphill for it, so
Johnny 5?
No, all I'm thinking about is I'm really sad that Operation Market Garden did not involve Belgium at all because Joe set a bridge too far.
Oh. But if you had to decide, where would you rate this on the Christmas quotient?
So, John, you're the tiebreaker here. Brad says 0. I say 1. What do you say?
0.
Okay. So it's a 0.
I would rate this one as neutral because I don't see anywhere to really give it a Christmas thing because, again, the religious and redemptive messages that it kind of sometimes remembers to hint at don't need Christmas.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Plus, it's like, it could have at least leaned into it a little bit harder. I don't know, man. Like, there's like 2 Christmas trees in this entire thing.
It's more Christmassy than Jurassic World, okay?
Absolutely it is. Wait, did we say Jurassic World was a 0?
I think we did. I think we gave it I think we went negative with Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, -5. Oh baby.
I really feel like this is very much my earlier theory where 1 out of every 12 films should take place around Christmas time. This is very much like, oh, this happens to take place at Christmas, but it's not really that related. You know?
And then the other 11 films are all Marvel movies, so you just law of averages,
Has a Marvel
3 just throws off our fucking metric.
Here's a question. Has a Marvel film taken place during Christmas yet?
Iron Man 3.
Yes.
Wait, really? Oh.
It's a Shane Black film. It has to take place at Christmas.
Right.
He's legally not allowed to not set a film at Christmas.
It's the law.
Okay, then y-axis, the quality scale. How good do you think In Bruges actually is?
I'll give it it's depressing, but it's well made. I'll give it a 1 or a 2. I don't know.
I'd be willing to be in that range too. Yeah, like it's not a bad movie, but it's just kind of like it's not bad. It just makes you feel bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I would choose to watch or watch again necessarily.
Okay. I mean,
but it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. I didn't not like it.
I mean, it has this going for it. It's not actively bad. It's just it's very
cynical.
It's very cynical and it's very stubborn. I'll say that if a film could be stubborn, this is a stubborn film because it knows very much what it wants to do, regardless of whether or not it should or
and it insists on it. Just you were too busy thinking about whether or not you should or whether or not you could when you didn't think about whether or not you should film this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Jurassic Park of films. I would fight for.
It feels like it's been resurrected from amber from a time long forgotten.
1994. Yes,
already. Yeah.
I would fight for a 3, but once again, I know
I'll meet you at a 2. The cinema, like the shots are pretty. The city's pretty. The jokes are funny. It's just the overarching theme and worldview of the movie is not great.
I will agree that I think it tries to do a little too much and doesn't quite know how to get there.
Yeah.
And so as far as that goes, like I wouldn't give it more than a 3, but I at least enjoy the comedy of it, and I at least appreciate that it tries to be a little more artistic. Basically, all I'm saying is I want a comedy where 2 people talk about Hieronymus Bosch for an hour and a half. Which is like that's.
Well, you got it, bud.
This film has an audience of 1, and that person is me.
Hey. Hi. So here's a question for you. What's more annoying when you see a movie and there's a kid in it, and you're like, well, obviously the kid survives because this movie's not going to fucking kill a kid, or when the movie actually does kill a kid,
or the movie surprises you by showing you there is a kid and also he's already dead.
Well, not just that, but like, because some movies fall into that fucking like, save the cat thing. Like, oh, we're not going to kill a kid. Like, what the fuck are we, monsters? And that's where you're basically your Jurassic Park.
Right.
Jurassic Park.
But then you either have movies like this one, or like that one fucking Shyamalan movie with Marky Mark in it,
The Happening,
where they do straight up fucking kill kids but it just comes off as like look how edgy we are. We killed a fucking kid. Yeah.
I'll say this.
A Quiet Place kills a kid, and it's a good film.
Yeah.
That kid had it coming.
Well, when I'm talking about like basically like schlock-ass like action horror type movies. Not like things where it's like, oh, a kid died of cancer and it's a fucking drama or something. But like where it's just like, we're not going to hold punches. Kids can be like disaster movie victims too, basically.
Right, yeah,
well, A Quiet Place did it, and that kid had it coming. He should know better.
He's 4. Come on,
you
Brett.
Still
He's
know better.
4.
Fucking setting off a space shuttle toy when you know you're supposed to be quiet. Come on.
Macaulay Culkin getting thrown off a cliff in The Goodson was pretty good.
All right.
Oh man. Hi,
Anyways.
bunny ears folk, if you're out there listening. You know what? Fine, I'll give you all a 2. I don't have a strong argument to fight for a 3 here, and we need to move along. So expediency dictates that I say it's a 2. So on your crankometer, chart it out. This In Bruges scores a 0 positive 2.
I think that's fair.
I'll say this for it. When this film came out in 2008, I rented it and I watched it and I thought, okay, that's nice. And I had not watched it again until today. So 10 years almost to the day, actually. So happy 10th anniversary In Bruges. This is not one that is easy to return to, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because, the negativity kind of sticks with you, and I don't know. I feel like this isn't a film that needs to be revisited. But I enjoyed it for what it was anyway. And now I'm just kind of talking out my ass, so I'm going to stop and give the reins over to one of you two for a minute.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, we would really appreciate it if you shared with your friends and your family and your loved ones. We're always looking to branch out, so if you want to let us know what you would like us to watch, you can send us a line at xmascreeps@gmail.com. Is that right?
xmascreeps@gmail.com. Yes.
And we're also on Twitter. You can search, just search Christmas Creeps. It'll come up.
Yeah.
We're also on YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube or you need to listen to us on YouTube, we're there for you. And we're available wherever any fine podcasts are available, which I'm sure you figured out since you're listening to this.
Yeah, we're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. We're on iTunes. We're on the internet. Just go find us.
And we sure would appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes or if Stitcher and Google Play enable reviews. Even if it's a middling review, we'll take it because we would like to know how we can improve. So
if you leave a negative review, I'll throw a fucking bowling pin at you.
I'll throw a brick through your dad's windshield. No. Yeah, send us a line. Send us a review. We would really appreciate it. And if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I think that's about all we have left for today's episode.
On YouTube, what are you doing? This out of all of the methods, that's the most inconvenient.
Yeah, I know, bud.
Maybe you're working in an office and you don't have you don't have an iPhone. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't judge. This is a judgment-free zone. Anyways, we really do appreciate you all listening, and we will catch you again soon for episode 69 of Christmas Creeps.
Hell yeah, 69!
I wasn't going to go there. I was going to save it for the actual episode, but thank you for doing that, Joe. I thought you were out of commission. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening or day or whenever it is you're listening to this. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. You guys. Yeah.
Killing kids is cool, and I'm Miles Davis.